welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news, transfer news, and update show. We're going to discuss the latest on Mateus Fernandes, transfer plans, Michael Carrick, and more. I'm going to have a bit of a rant about this news coming out about Mbeumo leaving. I'm fed up of this crap coming out. And we're also going to talk about a few other bits and bobs. But before we get into those stories, people, Bruno Fernandes has been nominated for Premier League Player of the Season. And we can all go and vote him. I've already voted Bruno as my Player of the Season. The nominees include the following players here. The nominees include Bruno Fernandes, Gabriel. I think Saliba's been the better of the two. Morgan Gibbs-White, Erling Haaland, David Raya, Declan Rice, Anton Semenyo, and Igor Thiago. So good nominees in there, but I don't even think it's a debate. I think Bruno is so clear. The thing with Arsenal is I was speaking to an Arsenal fan today, actually, and an Arsenal fan, do you know what an Arsenal fan said to me today? He said he's voting Bruno Fernandes Player of the Season, and I said, but you're an Arsenal fan. Every Arsenal fan thinks it should be Declan Rice. He went, no. He said to me, Saliba, he thinks has been Arsenal's best player. He said Saliba, Rice, Gabriel, Raya, they've all been incredible. But he said Rice, first of all, hasn't been Arsenal's best player. But do you know what he said to me today? He said, as an Arsenal fan, I'm voting Bruno Fernandes because if Martin Odegaard had the season Bruno Fernandes had, it wouldn't even be a question. Every single Arsenal fan would say Martin Odegaard had been clear of Declan Rice, Saliba, all of that. And he makes a good point. He just said to me, yeah, if Martin Odegaard had the season Bruno Fernandes had, if Martin Odegaard had 19 assists, every Arsenal fan would be forcing it on Odegaard over Rice, over Saliba, over Gabriel. And I was like, wow, I found an Arsenal fan that speaks sense. So Bruno Fernandes nominated for Player of the Season, by the way. But also in news coming in, Michael Carrick has been nominated for Manager of the Season. Now, while I think Bruno Fernandes definitely deserves Player of the Season, I personally wouldn't vote Michael Carrick Manager of the Season, even though he's got the most points since he's come in. The reason I wouldn't give Michael Carrick Manager of the Season is he came in January. For me, it'd be Keith Andrews. For me, everyone thought Brentford were going to go down. They lost Mbeumo, they lost Visser, they lost Thomas Frank. Everyone thought Brentford were going to go down or just stay up. Everyone thought they would be in the mud. Brentford are in 8th place. And by the way, Brentford, if they win their next 2 games and Villa come 5th and win the Champions League, win the Europa League, they could be in the Champions League. Brentford could be in the Conference League. Brentford could be in Europe next season. Brentford are only 7 points behind Villa in 5th, for context. If they win their next 2 games, they could finish 6th, unless Bournemouth win those games. And they could be in the Champions League. So I would give my Manager of the Season to Keith Andrews, as much as I like Michael Carrick. I would definitely give my Player of the Season to Bruno Fernandes. Yeah. Do you think Arsenal bottle the league? They've got Burnley and Palace. Palace and Burnley are going to do nothing. Arsenal are going to win the league. Yeah. There'll be riots everywhere if Bruno doesn't win. Oh my, talking of riots, I got to show you something so funny. I can't take Arsenal fans serious. Ready? Watch this. This Arsenal account is I think it must be run by a 12-year-old. PFA Player of the Year is voted for by players. EA Sports Player of the Year is voted for by clans. To clarify, criminal that Saliba was not nominated, I agree, but we can't afford another split vote to stand a chance. Poll below with results posted tomorrow. So basically, Arsenal fans are doing a poll to see who they should all vote for tomorrow so they can beat out Bruno. The fact you can't beat out Bruno should tell you enough. They think they can't beat out Bruno because of a split vote. No, you can't beat out Bruno Fernandes because he's so much better. The reason there's a split vote is because Declan Rice hasn't actually really been better than David Raya this season. Declan Rice, Saliba, Gabriel, and David Raya all have been good seasons, but none of them have been standout. It's an individual award. It's not the best player for the best team because you can't even decide your best player. 34% of you have gone with Raya. You can't even decide your best player. The Arsenal fans are going crazy. They're trying to pump out everyone to vote Declan Rice so they can beat out Bruno. But the fact you're having to do so much work on Twitter for Rice to try and beat Bruno to award tells you that Rice doesn't deserve to win that award over Bruno Fernandes. It absolutely makes me laugh when I see stuff like that. And I've always said it, if, in my opinion, Bruno winning PFA Player of the Season is all we got, really, because we ain't going to win anything. So I'm going to be pumping out my Bruno PR. I'm going to be doing it. If Man United were about to win the Premier League and in the Champions League final next week, do you think I'd be writing stuff that Bruno must win Player of the Year over this player, this player. This. No, I wouldn't give a crap. Like, if my team was going to win the Premier League this season in the Champions League final, I don't think I'd give a crap. I'm surprised Arsenal fans care so much. Like, they're so annoyed that Bruno won it. They care so much that Bruno won it. And I'm like, the best player is Bruno. That's not a debate. If I was a Man City fan, I'd think the best player was Bruno. If I was a Liverpool fan, I'd think the best player is Bruno. I'm like, if I was going to win a Premier League and in the Champions League final, I wouldn't even think about this. I mean, it's mental. But yeah, so Bruno gets my vote for Player of the Season. Carrot gets my vote for Manager of the Season. If you do want to go and vote Bruno Fernandes, you can go over to the EA Sports FC website, or you can just go to their Twitter account, and they've just posted it there, because clearly a worthy winner. But obviously, we're going to talk about this rubbish Mbeumo news coming out that's really winding me up. I think it's absolute nonsense, and it's an absolute joke. We're going to talk about Mateus Fernandes. We're going to talk about other stories. And yeah, also, guys, I did do my top 10 Premier League players this season. I don't know if you agree or disagree, but this is for me the top 10. Bruno, Saliba, Raya, Gabriel, Haaland, Anderson, Rice, Szoboszlai, Morgan Gibbs-White, and Cherki. Now, some people will say Cherki should be higher. Pep benched him for about 6 or 7 games, and he was injured for 3 months. Otherwise, Cherki would easily be higher. I think it's the injuries there as well. Maybe I should have put Igor Thiago in there. Maybe Haaland was too low. But that's my top 10. Enough with the Premier League awards. I don't know if the Young Player of the Season awards have come out yet. I don't know if we'd have any players nominated for the Young Player of the Season award. Like, has Kobe played enough? Maybe Kobe is done enough to get in there. I don't imagine any of our players will be nominated for Young Player of the Season. I'm trying to think. Probably not. Aiden Heaven's not played enough, so I don't think we'll have anyone in the Young Player of the Season award, but it'll be interesting to see who's made that. But yes, let's get into this Mbeumo news. Let's get into the Mbeumo stories and everything as well. Krupi could win Young Player of the Season. Cherki could play one player of this Young Player of the Season. Nico O'Reilly. I think it'll be Nico O'Reilly that wins Young Player of the Season. And I think Nico O'Reilly for Young Player of the Season. Bruno for Player of the Season. I think that's pretty fair. I don't think you can argue too much about that, if I was going to be totally honest. But yes, let's get into the news and all of that as well. So there's obviously this nonsense story coming out on Mbeumo, and this Mbeumo leaving news I think is an absolute joke. I think it's absolute nonsense. I think it's absolute rubbish, and a few people are talking about it. And look, for me, this is absolute rubbish. This is absolute nonsense. This is absolute joke, and do not give this any serious attention. So reports are coming out from IndyCar, who, first of all, is full of BS, saying, we've got interesting whispers floating around that Bryan Mbeumo might be available for transfer after just one season at Man United. Apparently, several clubs across England and Europe are keen to sign him this summer. It's definitely a story to keep an eye on as the summer window approaches. First of all, this is rubbish. These reports are rubbish. These reports are a joke. Do not give these reports any attention. Now other journalists are coming out. When I say other journalists, other unreliable journalists are coming out writing things about Mbeumo leaving for clicks. It's not true. He's not leaving. It's absolute joker report, and you've gone crazy if you think that Mbeumo is leaving, okay? Why would we sell Mbeumo when he was really good? Yes, he's dropped off since February, but he was really good from the start of the season till February. We're in the Champions League. We need depth. Ahmad is out of form. Why would we get rid of Mbeumo? We need 2 right wingers going into next season. We have Ahmad and Mbeumo. Why would we sell Mbeumo? If we sell Mbeumo, we'd have to bring another right winger in. Ahmad is also out of form. We need 2 right wingers, 2 left wingers, 2 strikers. We need 2 players in every position for next season. Sesko and a Xerxes replacement. Ahmad and Mbeumo. Cunha and a new left winger. Dorgu and a new left back. Maino and Mateus Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes and Morgan Gibbs-White, but it'll probably be Mason Mount. You know, Ugarte and Casemiro replacement. So Tchouameni and Baleba. You know, we have for the left centre-back role, we'll need 3 because of injury-prone players. Heaven, Leach Shaw. The right centre-back, Euro Delip Maguire. For right back, Majari Delo. There's no first of all, there's no reason to sell Mbeumo. 2, Mbeumo hasn't been bad. This is what I hate about the media. When I say the media, it's just people making up stuff for clicks. Yeah, it's just people making stuff for clicks. Why would we sell Mbeumo? Because he's been off it for 2 months. Mbeumo was mint this season. Mbeumo had been phenomenal, was scoring big goals. He's been off it for 2 months. So now we want to sell him. Absolute BS. I'm sorry, he scores goals, he provides in big games, he's been one of our best players this season. I think the only way Man United would sell Mbeumo this summer is if someone came in and offered us £100 million because we'd be making profit. We're not going to sell Mbeumo this summer because realistically, tell me a right winger we could replace Mbeumo with, because we ain't going to get Elise, we ain't going to get Yamal, and we ain't going to get Dembele. So if we did sell Mbeumo, tell me a player that's better than Mbeumo that could come in. There's not one. There's not one. So we're not going to sell Mbeumo. And Mbeumo himself has said he's desperate to play in the Champions League with Man United and is really happy at Man United and is looking forward to the Champions League next season. We're in the Champions League next season, and Mbeumo's happy, and Mbeumo has played well. There's no reason to sell Mbeumo, and Mbeumo wants to be here next season. So these reports coming out, not just from IndyCar, but Team Talk and other sources saying Mbeumo's going to leave Man United, or Mbeumo might leave Man United, United could be open to selling him, is absolute joke. It's an absolute joke. People want clicks. Manchester United sell clicks. Let's write a story about a player that's been really good, that's had 2 poor months, and think that he's leaving. It's absolute rubbish. I'm fed up. And people have been asking me in the comments. Last night I had a few comments like, oh, Alex, so is Mbeumo leaving? And I was like, what people going on about? And then I was like, oh, no, he's not. He's not leaving. He's not he's not. If Mbeumo leaves, I'll give a £500 away on this channel if Mbeumo leaves this summer. I would, because I'm 99.9999999% sure that these reports coming out about Mbeumo is an absolute joke. It's absolute BS. And yeah, maybe I shouldn't waste my time over it. And maybe I'm not getting rattled. I'm just getting annoyed because a lot of people will come to me and be like, oh, apparently Mbeumo's leaving Alice. And Mbeumo's like, IndyCar said this. And I just want to let you guys know it's rubbish. Because the reason I'm even doing a video on it is because I've had people asking me about it. I just think, it's a nonsense report. And we shouldn't really give it too much attention. It's just a lot of people have been asking me about it and all of that as well. So yeah, I just think the stories are a joke. The stories are a joke, and you've gone crazy if you're believing what IndyCar said on Manchester United. Yes, he got the Belabour story right. Yes, he got the odd news right in the summer, but you've gone crazy if you believe in it. You've gone crazy. Anyway, let's continue on into more stories, updates, and everything as well, because there's quite a few things to talk about. Do you think we should be moving faster with transfers? So many teams' seasons are done. Why wait? I agree. I think we should be moving, and I think we will. From what I gather, once Michael Carrick is confirmed, transfers will happen. Man United are looking at Mateus Fernandes. They're doing the groundwork for Mateus Fernandes. They're making the move for Mateus Fernandes. But, nothing will happen until 1, West Ham relegated, and 2, we know who the next manager is. I think we're starting work on recruitment. Mateus Fernandes, Belabour, Ederson, doing a bit of groundwork for Tchouaméni. We are doing groundwork on transfers. We just need to tell those transfers who the manager is going to be. I think we're now in a position, even though it's not official, where we can probably go to those players and say it'll be Michael Carrick. I think we're waiting on things like, will West Ham get relegated, of course. But from what, I think it was Laurie Whitwell that said it, actually. I think it was Laurie Whitwell that said Man United have already had recruitment meetings and have already started the groundwork on recruitment. Now, confirming the manager will just make it easier to tell those targets who the manager will be. So I think we're working on recruitment. This time last year, we already had Cunha wrapped up, basically, didn't we? So, it would be nice to have Mateus Fernandes wrapped up in 2 weeks when the season's done. That would be absolutely phenomenal before the World Cup. It would be incredible if West Ham can go down and we can get Mateus Fernandes wrapped up. I don't want Tottenham to go down. I want West Ham to go down. So that's sort of my mindset on it. But to be honest, I think we need to hurry up. I think with the World Cup, with the competition, with the amount we've got to do, I look at it and I go, the minute West Ham go down, if they go down, you go for Mateus Fernandes. You don't wait until July or August. You move in May. May 24th, yeah? The season ends May 24th. May 25th, I want you to make a move for Mateus Fernandes. May 25th, I want you to make a move for Mateus Fernandes, yeah? Then, May 30th, let's say we wrap up Mateus Fernandes. Brilliant. One signing done in May. Perfect. Now we're in June. Now in June, I want us to find that Casemiro replacement. Yeah? Maybe we can get a Belabour done nice and easy. Now we've got Mateus Fernandes. We won't look as desperate. His price could go down. Maybe we can get Belabour done in June. Tonali is not going to the World Cup. Maybe that's a deal we could try and do in June. Newcastle want a lot of money, though, so I'm not confident. Let's see what happens with Tchouaméni and Madrid. But I think if you can get Mateus Fernandes done in May, if you can, let's say we can get the other 2 midfielders done in June, then you've got July to look at your left wingers and your left backs and your other positions and your strikers and your forwards. I would like 3 key signings to be done in June, May. Yeah, pre-season's July, so if you can get the other people in July, if we can get 4 key signings for pre-season, 3 key signings in before that, and then you can get the 2 sort of extra signings like that Zesco backup in August. Maybe you back up left back in August, or your backup centre back in August. But if we can get the 4 key signings, which is top level left winger and 3 top midfielders, May, June, I think that would be perfect. If we differ in a World Cup summer, we could become problematic. And the thing that annoys me about Man United is we use the World Cup as an excuse to differ. Other teams will go and do business even when those players are playing in the World Cup, but we don't. We always like, oh, but they're playing in the World Cup, we'll wait till after. It's almost like we want an excuse for not spending money. It's almost like we love using the World Cup as an excuse to differ. Oh, we didn't go and get that player because he was playing in the World Cup, but oh, that team went and got that player that was playing in the World Cup. Oh, we missed out on that player because it took too long, he was playing in the World Cup. It's like we like our signings to go all the way down to the August deadline so we can be like, have a reason why we didn't buy them or have a reason why we didn't spend that extra bit of money. Sometimes we can't differ. Man United can do 2 deals before the World Cup. I think we can. I think City probably will. I think City will get Anderson wrapped up before the World Cup, and I wouldn't be shocked if City went and got someone like Ibrahim Mazarin as well. 100%. I just dread one of our new signings getting injured at the World Cup. That is the fear. You sign a player, he goes to the World Cup, he does his ACL. Like, imagine, like, we beat City to Elliot Anderson, we get it done before the World Cup, he does something like a ruptured Achilles or an ACL. That is the worst case scenario, but the chances of that happening are low. That said, I do think there's going to be a lot of injuries in the World Cup. Not for really Man United players, because we've only played 40 games this season, but there's players at Arsenal, there's players at City that have played, 60 games this season? I think they could get injured at the World Cup. Like, I'm not too worried about our players because we've barely played this season, but I do think those players play a lot of football. You look at Chelsea, they had to play in so many competitions last year. They played in the Club World Cup, and look at the Chelsea players are falling like flies at the start of the season, like Cole Palmer, Levi Colwill. I do think, the one good thing about not being in Europe before a World Cup season is I'm less worried about our players getting injured. But yeah, if you look at someone like Elliot Anderson, he's played a lot of games with Forest, he's going to go and play with England. There's that concern of, let's say we got him and he did do something, it would be bad. Agent Bruno will get us Fernandes. Let's talk about Agent Bruno Fernandes, by the way. Here it is. Bruno Fernandes is an admirer of Mateus Fernandes and is thought to have talked up his namesake and compatriot's credentials. His price tag is also expected to drop substantially if West Ham are relegated. From what I'm hearing, Mateus Fernandes obviously always plays with playing with Bruno. Mateus Fernandes looks up to Bruno. And they're like, but Bruno has bigged up Mateus to Man United. Mateus is open to joining Man United. He dreams of playing with Bruno. Now, we do have competition for Mateus Fernandes. Because he's now likely to leave West Ham, but PSG are looking at him. Now, PSG could be some serious competition. Now, what we could do is we could say you're more likely to start for us than PSG. They've got Vitinha, they've got João Neves, they've got Fabian Ruiz. That said, he probably would want to play with Vitinha and João Neves and have this full Portuguese midfield three. But with Mateus Fernandes, he's more likely to start for us. He loves Bruno Fernandes, and he's had 2 years in the Premier League, and he knows English. He's comfortable in England. So my mindset with Mateus Fernandes is, could we beat PSG to him? I think we could. And the reason I think we could beat PSG to him is his favourite players are Cristiano and Bruno Fernandes. He said if he could have played for any club at any time, it would have been Man United when Cristiano was there. His favourite current player is Bruno Fernandes, who's set to stay. And he has been in England 2 years and he's settled and he's learned English. Just I don't know if he speaks French. So my mindset is maybe we can beat PSG to Mateus Fernandes. He's probably going to get more minutes of us. But that does worry me because I can't sit here and say with confidence he would pick us over PSG. I can say there's a lot of signs he's open to the move and maybe would pick us over PSG. But the other thing is the Prem is clear. The Prem is clear of Ligue 1, but PSG are Champions League. PSG's guaranteed trophies. They're a worry because, I look at it and I go, I understand why players want to go to PSG. What they've built is incredible. They're in 2 Champions League finals. They could win back-to-back Champions Leagues, hopefully. So I understand it. But my mindset is the Premier League is so much better than Ligue 1. Like, Dembele has started 9 games in Ligue 1 and won player of the season for Ligue 1. Like PSG don't even play their players in the Liga, and they just play them in the Champions League. So for me, I'm hoping that the Prem being a better league, a stronger league, a more competitive league, a more serious league. The fact that he speaks English, the fact that he loves Cristiano, the fact that he loves Bruno. But I am worried about PSG because, as Alex said, PSG have completely changed their recruitment strategy. They're quite smart with recruitment now, and they will look at someone like Mateus Fernandes and think, you know what, that he fits our model. He fits our new recruitment model, and that worries me because Mateus Fernandes would be a very, very smart signing. It'd be a very, very smart signing for PSG, Man United, anyone that gets him. To be honest, I think value for money on the market, Mateus Fernandes is probably the best value for money option on the market if West Ham get relegated. If West Ham don't get relegated, then I think he would be expensive. I think Kobe has been nominated for Player of the Season. Let's have a look at this. It's not come out yet, but from what we're hearing, I think Kobe has been nominated for Young Player of the Season. Sully's come out and said, I'm told Kobe Mainoo is up for nomination for the Premier League Young Player of the Season award. The other nominees include Cherki, Mateus Fernandes, Lewis Hall, Coyote, Krupi, O'Reilly, and Alex Scott. Reminder, Mainoo barely played until January. Now, I don't think Mainoo will win it. I think Ryan Cherki or O'Reilly will win it. That could split the vote, though. O'Reilly and Cherki, so maybe you vote someone like Mainoo. To be honest, I wouldn't vote Mainoo. Like, I'm not like Arsenal fans that will just vote an Arsenal player. Like, Bruno Fernandes has clearly been the best player in the Prem, but Arsenal fans will vote Arsenal players. You know, Michael Carrick is great, but I'd vote Keith Andrews over Michael Carrick. I voted Bruno Fernandes for Player of the Season award. I voted Keith Andrews for Manager of the Season award. I'd probably vote O'Reilly. Should I vote Mainoo because I'm Seamus and a Man United fan? I could, but if I was to be honest, O'Reilly deserves Young Player of the Season award. Keith Andrews deserves Manager of the Season award. Bruno Fernandes deserves Player of the Season award. But look, even having Kobe voted is great, especially considering he didn't start a game until January. I didn't start until halfway through the season. All the more important for us to move early on Mateus Fernandes types of West Ham relegated 100%. 100%. Let's hope PSG don't sell us their dead weight and buy Mateus Fernandes with that money. Exactly. And I also think if PSG want a player, it makes me want that player more. Because look how good PSG's recruitment's been lately. If PSG are looking at that player, you know it's good. PSG were looking at João Neves. PSG looking at Mateus Fernandes. That tells you a lot. Someone's commenting we should see Mbeumo. We should sell Mbeumo. I would not sell Mbeumo. I would not sell him one bit. I think we'd be stupid to sell him. I feel like we have a reactionary fan base where a player can be really good for 6 months and they have 2 bad months and everyone's like, they're crap, sell them. Like, Ahmad's had a good year and a half at United. He's had a crap 6 months, sell him. Like players have form, players have confidence. There was a period like 2 years ago where people wanted Bruno sold. Bruno missed a penalty in like the 3rd game of the season and fans were saying, I knew we should have sold him in the summer. Fans wanted, but back in September, some fans were saying we're going to regret not selling Bruno Fernandes because he had 3 poor games at the start of the season. And fans were like, oh, we're going to regret not selling him. We need to stop being reactionary and just give people a little bit of patience. Lewis Hall's good, Krupi's good. I mean, but I think O'Reilly would win it for me. Or Cherki, to be honest. I could have really put O'Reilly in my top 10 players here. I'm looking at my top 10 players list. Forgot about O'Reilly. O'Reilly should probably make the top 10 players this season. To be honest, now thinking about it. I've done my top 10 players this season, but it hasn't got O'Reilly in, and it hasn't got Igor Thiago in. But yeah, O'Reilly's been class. I think West Ham will beat Newcastle, and then Spurs will lose to Chelsea, and then it'll all play for on the final day. But that puts it in West Ham's hands. Because West Ham have on the final day Leeds. Leeds are going to bend over to West Ham on the final day. Everyone wants Tottenham to go relegated. I'm convinced Leeds will just bend over to West Ham. I think Newcastle are going to let West Ham win. I honestly do. I think Newcastle are giving up. Is Bruno Guimaraes back? I believe so. He played in the last couple of games. So maybe Newcastle give them more of a challenge. They drew with Forest, Newcastle. I don't know. I do think West Ham are going to win. I think West Ham. I'm worried West Ham will stay up and we don't get Mateus. Don't get this reactionary turning on our players so quick. At least give a couple of seasons if they show some promise. Exactly. I agree. I like the 2 years and you're out rule. The Omar Barada 2 years and you're out rule. 2 seasons, you haven't proved yourself in your second season, you're out. Agate, mid first season, second season, yeah, he's got to go. If he had a good second season, you keep him. I think that's how it should be. Anyway, listen, people, I'm going to wrap up today's live show. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.